We have Crystal Calhoun with us from Made to Be Unique. Hi, Crystal.
Hi.
Now let me set up this podcast so we can get our show going here. I'm still new to this fancy technology. So Crystal is an expert, just so everybody knows, in helping individuals build effective effective online presence. She specializes in website creation, graphic design, marketing, social media, and so much more. Crystal has been helping individuals like myself, and I'll share some of the things she's been doing with me, but for about 15 years. Is that right, Crystal?
Yeah, a little over 15 years.
A little over 15 years. Well, welcome to the show, Crystal. Thank you so much for coming on. So the reason I wanted you on the show today was because of that expertise that you have, and because you helped me so much, I wanted to share you with the world, okay? So our focus today will be on what you can do to build that professional image online. We will cover ways to stand out as a job seeker, as a professional, and even as an author. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me bring up our fancy questions here. Got all these banners and whatnot. So let's jump in. I'm gonna start asking you questions. I'm gonna hit you right now, Crystal. How important is it to present a professional image as an author, a job seeker, and a business owner?
Well, it can really make a difference as far as making sales. I mean, if you have a great first impression, it makes all the difference for a sale, and also the price of the sale. It could increase your rate. You know, if you have a really great first impression or impression period, you can get a better rate for your product.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I remember when I first started working with you was about being more professional. And what I mean by that is I'm one of those that, yes, I can create some graphics. I'm that do-it-yourselfer. I can be dangerous, but I'm not quite that. I'm not a graphic designer. I haven't been trained in it. I have not taken courses of any kind, so to speak. Maybe a couple of those online, tutorial type things, but I haven't done it for 15 years. So when I came to you and I showed you my ideas, you were like, oh, that's great, but we need to take it to the next level, because you made a good point to me that my products need to represent my brand. And my brand needed to be very professional. And so I can say you took me to the next level. First, as a business owner, starting out, I needed that professional website. And I had all of these grand ideas, and you're like, how about this? How about that? And again, you were trying to get me to see the whole picture, that bigger picture of, look, you might be right here as a new entrepreneur, but we're going to get you here. And to get you here, you have to present a credible professional image. So I can say from the business side, you helped me. And then, friends, I've known Crystal, gosh, it's 6 years now, Crystal, 6, 7 years, something like that.
More, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And so she also watched me blossom into becoming an author. And, she gave me the same great advice. If you're going to write a book, you need a fantastic cover, because that cover is going to draw people to your book. It's again, the first great impression. And without that great impression, you get lost in the noise. So if your book, say, is on Amazon, how many books are on Amazon? Millions. Not thousands, millions. And you're competing with all of them. And so you have to make sure that you have a good visual product, visual from the standpoint that it looks great, it catches people's attention, a lot of key elements. And as a do-it-yourselfer, you don't always know those design elements and everything and whatnot. So anyway, I know I don't want to steal your answer or anything, but I wanted to add that because I came to you from so many different perspectives. And did you want to add anything to that?
No, you said it spot on. Yeah.
Okay, good. And I know we'll cover web design again, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
No, that was great.
All right. Oh, we got a couple people online with us today. Amy Ricks says she sees it every day in her school library. Melanie Ann says hello to us. Hi, guys. Okay. All right. So the next question then would be, as a person who has designed many book covers, how do you take an author's ideas and make a non-existent cover a reality? What is your process? How do you get from my terrible sketches or my PowerPoints to some fabulous product?
Well, I ask a lot of questions. I like to know about the author and what their interests are, if they have certain color likes and dislikes, and also what is it that they're talking about? What in their book, what are they going for? What kind of book is it? The theme, the feeling that they want to present. So that's very important. If they have certain fonts or something, fonts are actually really strong. They can really represent the book in a big way, and people underestimate fonts, the use of fonts, as well as pictures. So, and then I'll just, get a better idea of who they are by asking a lot of questions, and then I put it together and, see what they think, and, they might, suggest or ask for a few changes, which is no problem, but usually it's, yeah, that's how it goes.
You mentioned colors. So in my
Yes.
case, being that I'm an entrepreneur and an author, and I'm writing my books, but publishing them under my business name, how important was it to use my branding in my color scheme?
I think it's very important just to keep a very consistent feel. It is a branding method, just to keep that feel consistent. It doesn't mean that you have to have everything like a template format of even color themes, but it's nice to have a consistent flow of colors. That it's branding. It's what it is. It really is branding. And you want to brand your image. You want to brand your color, your idea into people's minds, because then if you brand it, they can remember you, they can recommend you. So, yeah.
When you were talking about branding and the color scheme, I once heard, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, colors can evoke feeling. Is that true? Like different colors can make people feel different things?
Absolutely. Blue is usually a color of loyalty and trust and calm and insightfulness. Green is like inner, it's also calming and creative. But yeah, and red is, aggressive. It could be anger, or it could be, more, buy now. It's more of an aggressive color. So usually, like if you see on the news, you'll see politicians. They usually either have blue on for loyalty, or red, for aggressive. I'm in charge. I've got this. So yeah, colors are there's a psychology behind colors, and anybody that's interested in marketing or in graphic design, they should study on colors, because there's more power to it than people realize. They really should. I really strongly recommend, if you're interested in marketing or in graphic design, look up colors and the psychology behind colors.
Wow, that's excellent advice. Thank you. I once heard that red also can invoke hunger, and that's why a lot of the restaurants have the red in their branding. So the McDonald's and the Taco Bells and the Burger King, they all have red in there. So you're shaking your head that that's true.
Yeah, especially for the fast food, because you don't want them to have a second thought. You want them to buy now. And you also see sell signs. Sell signs are red. You don't see sell signs in blue or green. You see them in red. Do it now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's excellent on the color psychology. I hadn't thought about studying that, so that's excellent. Before I move on, just because Crystal has done 2 of my covers, and so look, she did use the red, expert tips. So yeah, and then of course my blue for the branding. So that's one cover that she's done for me, and that's kind of the back. And then she also did this one, which is career advice for high school students. And that's actually her daughter. Isn't she beautiful? So love it. She's great. And she kept with my branding and my colors perfectly. She also helped another author, a friend of mine, a new author, Michelle, who wrote a book. Let me grab the book here. Called My Rainbow to Keep. And I'll put that up there. It's another cover that she's designed. I hope it comes through good on the podcast. But and then of course that's Michelle in the back. So that's another one that she's done. She's done so many different things. Like I could just have a show all about bragging on Crystal because she's just fantastic. And anyway, she took my mess and created those covers. Sometimes I'm amazed at how she does it because I just don't, my ideas can't seem to get out of my head, and she always knows what to do. So I really appreciate that. All right, it looks like we got a comment here. Oh, Melanie says, I had read that red and yellow evoke motivation. So I painted my workout room yellow with one red wall. It looked like mustard and ketchup. I was not motivated, and she laughed. You probably made yourself hungry, Melanie. You made yourself hungry.
That's funny. I just break out a hot dog.
Right. Well, I thought, okay, so my first job was McDonald's. So I immediately went to McDonald's in my mind.
That's funny. Me too, actually.
All right. So the next question is, for an entrepreneur who is trying to grow their business, should they use social media channels to promote their business? One. And then if so, should they have an expert design their social media presence, or should they do it? And I asked this question, or the combination of questions, because there's so many tools out there to do the social media stuff. And I'm going to throw newsletters in there too, the electronic newsletters through the different sources like, MailChimp and Constant Contact. And there's so many out there now. I thought, again, that, I had enough skills to design my own. And I learned quickly, even with the templates and stuff that they provide, yeah, I could do it. But to really make them professional, I needed you, Crystal. I needed a graphic designer. I needed somebody who knew the tools, who, like you said, knew the color psychology. Anyway, what would you say? I mean, should businesses use social media channels, and should they hire an expert to design them first?
Well, I absolutely believe that you should use social media platforms to market. I mean, that's a very low cost form of marketing, especially if you put a picture out there and then you tell your friends and your family about it, and they're like, they want to hurrah you on, they want to cheer you on, and they're going to forward it and pass it on, or they're going to even talk about it. If they talk about it, that's already promoting you to their contacts. So I absolutely recommend using social media platforms for marketing. And as far as hiring experts to help you design it, so that it really depends on if you can afford it. Really, if you can't afford it, do something. But you should. So you should definitely start somewhere. If you have the budget for it, absolutely hire a designer, a professional designer, because they have an eye for like the size of the banners that you need and the placement, and also like where things would go to cause people to want to jump on board versus distracting, because you don't want to distract in your advertisements. That can happen really easily. So hiring an expert for marketing will be very helpful, but if you can't afford it, do something anyways.
Okay. I guess we would just stick with our color scheme, keep those elements in there, like you said, for the branding piece. And then I guess we can keep it simple. If we don't have the I don't want to say talent, but that level that you're at, a graphic designer is at, then we should just follow the approach of keep it simple, keep it clean and professional, I imagine. Would that be sound advice?
Yeah, do what you're able to do, but yeah, if like you can start with a logo and your color theme. If you got to start anywhere, start there. Start with your logo and your color theme. Keep that consistent. There's a lot of free images out there you could use, and there's a lot of professional images that I recommend using as well that are not free, and they make a difference. You know, paying for something, paying for that cropping, that sizing, and the placement, and the proper placement, and the call to actions, the sales funnels, it makes a difference. So when you can afford it, pay for it. It's worth it. You get what you pay for, basically. But if you can't, do something. And yeah, start with the logo and the color theme. That's the best place to start.
Gotcha. I will. I'm going to add one. One of the ones I know you use, I also use, is pixabay.com. So I'll put that up there so people can see that. That's a great place to get free to use pictures, even commercial free to use pictures. You don't have to give attribution, although it's a good practice to give credit to people, obviously. But there is no requirement to do so, and you can use them for whatever you want, for your products, marketing materials, social media, and whatnot. I use it a lot for LinkedIn when I do professional backgrounds for my clients when I'm updating or creating their sites. So that goes to not just business owners, but also job seekers. You know, you want to present a professional image online as well through those social media platforms. The best one for business for job seekers would be the LinkedIn platform. And again, now LinkedIn is opening it up so that not only can you have your background graphic, but you can also have, I think it's up to 20 now, 20 what they call featured graphics. A graphic designer can take those, like Crystal said, the sizes, and make it fit so they look great on screen, because it's that visual appearance. When you're using online platforms, the only way to engage people is what you present them, unless it's a live streaming event like we're doing right now. The only other way is to, you know, put a good foot forward, meaning that professional image. And that was the other reason I wanted Crystal to come on today, is because, you know, my audience is job seekers and business professionals, and again now authors, and we all have different needs. Sometimes the needs cross, depending on what we're doing, services we're providing and such. But it's so important to, like she said at the beginning of the show, present that great first impression, because just like in person, you don't get to have first impression again, you know. So make sure that the first time you meet someone is good. You know, you want to be top of mind. You want them to remember you for the good things, not for messing up or well, we won't even go into that. That's for another show. But all right, so let's see what's next. Okay. Should authors and business owners have a website? And if so, what type of site should they have built?
So authors, I do recommend authors having a website. I do. I strongly recommend it. It's a great marketing platform. What I recommend is on your book, have your website domain name on there. That way, you know what, for an author, you're sharing a part of yourself, your thoughts, your ideas with people. And those people, if they like you, they like what you wrote, they want to, you know, if they really like what you wrote, they're going to want to find out more. Do you have more books? What kind of person is this? You know, they're going to want to find out more. So I strongly recommend that authors have a website. And you know, I think if you're on a tight budget, the very least you could do is buy a domain name and have it forward to like a Facebook fan page until you can get a website designed. But definitely have that domain name established, because it will do you a lot of good in the future, especially when you have that printed on your book, because that book is future marketing. That's what it is. So if you're going to write more books, or if you want your friends to promote it to their friends, or your family to promote it to their family, they always know where to go. There's no question about it. And the easier you make it for people to find you, the better.
Yes.
And business owners, I would say most businesses would do very well to have a website. There are some that is less, I would say less. I mean, I'm a website designer, so of course I'm going to be biased. Everybody should have a website, but there are some that benefit from it for a lot more than others. Like restaurants, I think that, you got to Google My Business, and they're going to do, I think, a lot better on Google My Business than having a website. Although websites are nice, people can look on their menus, and I've had clients hire me for their restaurants, and that was great. It's great for marketing if you put it on flyers and stuff. But I think that if you're going to get some travelers through, they're going to probably mostly go through like a Google My Business or Maps or something like that. So some would benefit from it more than others. But if you have the money that you can invest into it, it's worthwhile, in my opinion, because it's marketing. You want to put some flyers out, you want to do some social marketing, social network marketing, then you can always refer everybody to your website.
Well, and the reason I asked the question about what type of site should they have built, and I see I have a grammar error in my question. Should. Oh yeah. Anyway, Melanie Ann, I didn't have you proof my questions before I posted them, and she's on the line. Anyway, yeah. So the reason I asked what type of site to have built is because there's so many businesses. Like I know there's the Shopify sites, there's those e-commerce, there's services, there's WordPress using themes, there's build it without with code, and there's so many different ways to do it. And I'll be honest, until I had a professional designer, until I made contact with you, just seeing some of the sites created for free, if you will, by some of the different platforms. I won't name them or anything. I think that hurts more than it helps, especially for, say, an author. When you use a do-it-yourselfer site and it's free. Just my opinion. Again, I think it depends on the skill level of the person. I mean, am I right in that, or am I just biased because I've had you do my site this whole time?
Well, I think it all depends on each individual person, because some people are really in tuned to certain things that need to be. I mean, I'm self-taught, so I just became in tuned and I made it happen. So people can make it happen. Do they want to put that energy and their time into that, or do they want to put energy and time into the things that they love to do most, whether it be their book or their store or their restaurant or whatever they're doing? Where do they want to put their time? Because that's where they should put their full energy, in my opinion, and have somebody that loves what they're doing, whether it be designing a website or flyers or whatever. Let them do that, because that's what they love to do, and you stay focused on what it is that you love to do. Of course, if you want to, rule the world, because I had that mentality at some time, I wanted to learn everything. Do everything, and then I just decided, I was stretching myself too thin. It didn't work out very well on the things that I had less interest in. It kind of zapped my energy away from the things I loved most. So I had to let some things go and let other people do what they were great at. So, and about your question with the sites, the type of sites should people have. So I have had a lot of clients ask me what kind of, whether they do a Square or a Shopify or BigCommerce or WordPress, and it really depends on what it is that you're going after. If you sell a lot of products, I strongly recommend Shopify. I hate WooCommerce, just let that be known. You can also use PayPal. If you're on a tight budget, you can use PayPal buttons. I use PayPal buttons, not just because I don't have a lot of products. Yeah, you use them. They're easy. If you want to use Stripe, you can always use Stripe. If you don't like PayPal, you can use Stripe and just put some buttons on there. So you do have options. It can, for credit cards or bank cards, whatever. There's options, but you should talk to somebody that knows about those different options. A designer or whatever, because there's a lot of options out there. And if you there's like I say, WooCommerce, I hate it because I've had experience with it. And, so have somebody that has had a certain amount of time, of experience. They don't want to just take your money and say, okay, I'll build this for you and leave you to it, and then you're stuck with this thing that doesn't work. You want someone that has some years between them, anyway, so.
Right. And somebody else, it may not be a favorite of yours, but somebody else may like that platform or whatnot.
There's some people that like WooCommerce. I hate it.
Yeah.
But
We all have our own preferences. No. I like the solution that you provided for me because that I won't say that I'm a control freak, but I like to get my hands in there and do some of my own stuff. I don't have the designer ability. Maybe one day. Maybe you'll teach me one day. But I don't want to. But I have the creativity. I want to do more. So I love your solution because we did the WordPress theme or platform, and then we used plugins, a dedicated theme, and then you taught me through your videos how to go in and make all my changes. And I love it. I love that I get to be a part of the process. And like you said, you didn't keep me on the hook. You helped me at the beginning. And then you said, okay, now you can run with it. You can do as much or as little as you want to do with it. If you need me, I'm here. I'm not going to let you fall, because I will say Crystal is the type that sets people up for success. But I felt good, like I can actually do this. So it was, I liked that solution. I know that's not the solution for everybody. Some people, hire a web designer to do all of the work and any future work, changes. They don't feel comfortable making those changes. But again, there is another hybrid solution where you could do something where a person, if you're like me, wants to get in there and post a blog article or update a page or something. You don't have to feel like you're on the hook to someone and you can't make your own changes. So there is that hybrid solution, and I really did appreciate that, Crystal.
Thank you. And not all designers are like that. Some people, there's actually a lot of website providers or designers that will put that hook on you, and you should know before you hire anybody, are you able to get into that back end and do edits on your own, or are you going to be completely dependent on them? Because sometime in the future, you might want to do things yourself.
That's good to know too. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Let's see. Actually, I don't want to ask that question yet. I want to go back to what you just said. So if someone is looking for a graphic designer or a web designer, you kind of touched on it, but what should they look for, and how can they tell if someone is truly qualified? Like what should they be on the lookout for? Are there any red flags, or like you had just mentioned, if somebody says they're going to do this and then all this future work is going to cost money, I mean, that would be a red flag to me. But are there any things we should be looking for?
Sure. I would start with the portfolio, look through the person's portfolio. And then I'd look through the testimonials. What do they have an extended history with testimonials? And not just testimonials on their website, because that could be edited, but live testimonials like on Facebook or LinkedIn or Upworks or wherever, that they have, where other people can put their testimonials without the editor, such as myself, being able to alter that in any way or, form or fashion. So it's very raw testimonials is very strong, indicator if this is a good designer for you. How many years they've been doing this. Do they love their job? I think it's very important if a designer is just doing it because it makes them money, or if it's just something they are just always drawn to. They just like it. They dig it, So you should have somebody that digs their job, especially a designer. Also, do they believe in what you're doing? If they believe in what you're doing, you're going to get a better final product. If they don't believe in it and they're just doing it for the money, okay, it might be all right, but you really want somebody that believes in you and believes in your vision and supports you for that, because they'll bring you the best results. They really will.
So once we find that person, say we, go online, we search different avenues, maybe friends refer people, so is it a good time during those consultation calls then to kind of feel each other out, like if we're even a good fit to work together?
Well, phone calls are great, but I have to be honest, I'm so used to emails that I don't know that I myself am a good representation on phone, and even videos. I need to get more practice on videos, so that might not be the best indicator. Somebody talk. I mean, you might. I've had people. I've had many clients. That I've talked to on the phone, and it was. I mean, actually, they say if you could talk to a person on the phone, that leads to a much more likelihood that you'll have a winning sell. So it's a good thing, but I'm personally not used to phone calls and videos,
so with your process, you're saying it's okay if it's, say, a client intake form where you get information and you share information. That's fine, as long as we do our homework and we look at that portfolio and we look at the products and testimonials. We should be okay. That should be good.
Yeah, if you can tell somebody, even through email, if somebody's interested in what you got, they support you, they're just right there with you. It's it's bound to happen because they believe in you and they're going to make it happen. If they have years behind them, they're going to make it happen. So, yeah.
Okay.
Whether it's in a phone call or it's on an email or a text chat or something like that, you definitely want someone with experience, the testimonials, the portfolio, and they just believe in you.
Gotcha. Okay, so what are the projects that you enjoy working on the most?
Well, I guess that did. So sorry, stuttering here. I love artistic type of projects. I love ministry type projects. I've had a lot of coaching projects recently, and then several authors. Those are great. I'm very interested. I'm very interested in any kind of project with a good communicator. I guess I love working with clients that are just energetic. They believe in their vision, and I kind of absorb that energy, and then I bring it back on them. And so they're, having that back and forth excitement between me and the new client. Actually, maybe that's how the kind of projects I enjoy working with is people who believe in what they're doing. Yeah, because I enjoy that kind of energy. Yeah.
Gotcha. Is there one type of project, and what I mean is, do you prefer to do graphic design? Like, do you prefer covers? Do you prefer website design? What's like your ideal project? Like when you get one of those, you're like, yes. What makes you have that wonderful feeling?
I would lean towards the graphics. I do love the graphics and flyers and advertisements, but there's the combination really to me is energizing because I'm not stuck in one thing. I like combination. And I love search engine optimization and stat reports and stuff. I like the combination. So it's really hard for me to say what one project do I enjoy the most. I love the combination. It keeps me challenged. Especially as long as my client is really into what they're doing. I get into that too. that energizes me, that energizes them, and that's fun.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're definitely, what do they call that? Very eclectic. You can do all kinds of different things. You're a very creative soul. I will say that. There's nothing I've asked you to do where you were like, oh no. Now you may have said, well, I've never done that before, but let's figure it out. And you always figure it out. I was going to show, so for the business owner, here's an example of something Crystal did that a graphic designer could do for you for, say, illustrating your business services. I don't know if that you can see it well. So Crystal actually did that for me, like, what was it, 2 days? And we were rushing through so I could take it to a live event and pass it out. A graphic designer can do that, and then they can, they can create these wonderful products, and you can have them sent instead of, you don't have to go to a printer. I think where'd I have this done, like Office Depot or Office Max or something. They just printed it out for me. Yeah. So you can create a lot of projects or products that will give us that professional image we need. So anyway, I just wanted to show that before I went on. So any final thoughts on the topic of a professional online image? Is there anything we didn't cover? I know we said it's important to have one. We talked about colors and the psychology of it, keeping with your brand, getting a logo. Is there anything else where we haven't talked about with regards to a professional online image? What am I missing, Crystal? We said the website.
You covered the social media, and really, I think that the biggest, as far as your online image, is just keep moving forward online, online and in person, and getting involved with your product, or your service. Just believe in yourself and move forward with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and put that passion to that online professional image, because it will show there, make it professional. Great. My audience learned, I think it was 2 weeks ago, about having that professional picture, so making sure your website, your LinkedIn profile, you had a good headshot or good professional pictures that were not headshots, but different types of images on your website and that kind of stuff to portray themselves. So they have heard that in a previous session. So good. Well, I tell you, if we think of anything else, we can always have another podcast, Crystal.
Well, I would look forward to that. I would add, though, back to the stock images you had mentioned earlier about using Pixabay. And I have, I can say that with most of my clients' projects, like on the home page, they almost always use paid for stock images, because it represents that particular idea or that category. A lot more specific. It's a lot more specific if you use the paid for professional stock images. And then for like blog posts, is the Pixabay. That's what most of my clients do.
That's a really good point, because when you're trying to market your brand, you don't want to have someone else's image, because guess what? If it's free for you to use, then it's free for anybody else to use. So I'm so glad you brought that point up. I didn't think to share that. So thank you for that final thought. I appreciate that. Our listeners needed to hear that. All right, let me double check our comments. Oh, okay. So we do have a comment from Amy. I'm going to see if I can post it up here. Amy says, what is the best way to get your image online? Start with a website or a blog? What would be better?
Well, a blog is basically a website. I mean, it's just called a different thing. So, I mean, just getting started, period. Whether you call it a website or whether you call it a blog, or just get started, just do something. As far as like, if you're an author, well, no, I just call it a website, really, and just get it started. Yeah.
I guess it would depend on what you're using it for. So if you're just going to put maybe a couple of your books and just blog about something. Maybe that's what she's meaning by just a blog, by a full website where we have lots of pages. And because I know there's some bloggers out there that's all they do is blog. But technically, from a technical standpoint, it's still a website, right? Because you have to have a domain, even as a blogger.
It's a website.
Yeah, it's a website. Okay. All right, Amy. I hope that helped. I hope that helped. I can tell you when Crystal designed my first website, gosh, 7 or 8 years ago, it was massive. I mean, I had a bunch of stuff on it. My fault. She tried to tell me, and I'm like, no, I want to have this and I want to have that. And, of course, she made it all look great. But then I learned over the years, less is more. Try to have less, but make the less be the really important stuff. And then use other areas like the blogging to share more, And so it took me a little bit of time. So I say that because you don't have to have a website that has 20 pages. You can have a website that has your home page, your about page, maybe the services you offer. I don't know. What else, Crystal, do you do it for basic?
Well, you got to start somewhere. So you go with that. Now it's great to have lots of content because that adds to your search engine optimization, and it's also more marketing opportunities. So I do believe in big, but you don't want big to distract you from your target. You got to stay focused on your target, because if you try to conquer everything, it's going to distract. You're going to get stretched then. So stay focused on your target and just go all into that target, make, all kinds of, subcategories of that target, but just stay on target. But yeah, I suggest starting with your homepage, your about, your contact, and what it is that your service or your product, and then go from there. With your blog, people want to hear your thoughts. They do, and the more you share your thoughts, you get more people interested. So I recommend it. I do recommend blogs, but I recommend having a website and just getting started.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you, Crystal, for providing us with some excellent guidance on the importance of creating an online presence. Let me put this up real quick because in case people want to reach out to you, you are an expert. I highly recommend you. You can find Crystal here. I've got her website up on the screen there. If you hopped on the live stream a little bit late, no worries. This will be available to watch in replay. So you don't want to miss the wonderful information that Crystal has shared. Just jump back on afterwards or whenever you have some time and hit that replay button. You won't be disappointed. You will enjoy the information that she shared. Again, I've known her for years, but I learned something tonight, so I'm really excited. I'm going to get off this podcast and look a couple things up myself on that color psychology. That's pretty cool. I knew a little bit, but not like what Crystal was sharing. So again, check it out. All right, then. Thanks for coming on, Crystal. I'll see you later.
Okay.
All right. So for our next show, we're going to discuss procrastination and how to stop doing it. So I'm going to bring our guest host, Melanie, on with us again. I know you guys loved her. She's such a hoot. So we're going to have her on again. So check us out Thursday, February 11th. We're back to the mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So just find us in this Facebook group again, or on YouTube if you're watching us on YouTube. And I promise you'll have a really great time. If you have a topic that you would like us to cover, please let us know. You can post it in the comments. We check the Facebook and YouTube area often. So just post your comments on what you'd like to see for a future show. And we'd love to bring you something you're interested in. And on that note, I'm going to sign off. Thank you for joining us today. See you next week.